Greetings, salutations, my fellow sovereigns. This is the Vocational Science of Freedom Wednesday night open roundtable. And tonight we are going to talk about online security. That's what we'll be covering tonight. And if you'd like to join the Vocational Science Freedom Gilded server, you can do so by going to gilded.gg/VSOF. The link is in the Vocational Science Freedom YouTube page right here. It is also in all of the show notes for all the classes on Odyssey and on Rumble and also on Gab. So, without further ado, let me pull up the screen, and Link will be discussing tonight various different aspects of online security. So,
all right, hi there, guys. Welcome. Today we're going to be going over some security and privacy when you guys are going on the internet. One of our biggest issues we have is being able to have all of your information publicly seen everywhere. And what we can do is take steps to keep ourselves from being seen. One of those steps that we're going to be looking over is going to be dealing mostly with Google, and we're going to have some other websites that we'll be looking for, and just making sure you guys are on a secure machine, as well as making sure that any of your results online, personal information, is either stripped from there or that you update that to make sure that it isn't seen. First things first, we do have this lovely website called True People Search. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat.
is this a paid service or is this something that anybody can use for free?
This is a free service that anyone can access any of your guys' data. Now, if you guys want to go into this, you guys can go ahead and either type in your name, your phone, your address, or your email address. I would do all four individually and see if there's any accounts that pop up with your information. Now, majority of you guys are going to have your information that will pop up, and once you guys have that all up, I'll ask to make sure that you guys have found it. Once you guys have found it, we'll go through the steps on how to remove that.
Could you put in somebody's information that, well, yep. A is not here, and okay, there you go, perfect.
So I have found Kylie T. Cox of Conroe, Texas, age 25, November. Here is their current address. Sometimes this isn't going to give you their current address. This is all just information that's been bought online, and then they store it on here. So as you can see, there's going to be some information, previous addresses, possible relatives, possible people that you know. There's paid services to get more stuff, but for the most part, this is the stuff you guys want to get removed, because this is your guys' information online. And with this information, you guys can do a lot.
Is much of this based upon, at least with this website, public record as well? Because it'd be much more difficult to remove various aspects of things that are on public record. Or can you get this site to just remove the information off of this site, even if it is public record?
Exactly. We'll be going over on getting that, and then we'll be going on removing your results off of Google so that you guys can search your name, your address, your social medias, any username that you guys have used, anything of the like, and we want to go ahead and remove that. And I will provide another link on removing that as well.
Sounds good.
So if everyone can just go ahead and hit a 100 on that link in the chat and tell me when you guys have pulled up your information.
And I will not be showing anything of any aspect of that. All we'll see tonight is just what's on Link's screen. So anything that you guys put up and take a look at is not going to be recorded, just to let you guys know.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm not trying to dox everyone who's on our server. That's for sure.
Oh, really? That seems reasonable.
Right, and the first thing I actually thought about with this site, I thought to myself, well, if you type in the information, isn't that giving them the first bit of information if they don't have it already? But I know that there's so much of this online that it's rather ridiculous. But
yeah, if we have someone in here that knows the Fair Credit Reporting Act, this is basically a credit report.
Yeah, and just to make a side note on that, as far as the credit reporting agencies go, we have contemplated at the VSOF to gather 25 of us who have gotten our doc sets done and then approach all of the credit reporting agencies as a grand jury, as 25 of us, and demand that they remove all of our information off of all of the credit reporting agencies as well. Now, that kind of move is only truly for people who are already fully prepared to be out, or for decades have already basically been out of the system, or have no interconnection or requirement to, say, have a bank account or anything else, like me, or someone who's very wealthy. Because once you cut that off, you are essentially removing yourself from the entire commercial system. Because if no corporation, no bank can ever run a credit check on you ever again, you're basically invisible. And plus, you will never be able to have a court case brought against you again, at least any of these quasi-criminal courts, because if they can't find that you exist on the credit reporting situation, then you're far too much of a liability because you're an unknown. So there's no way they would bother to create any of these court bonds on your estate name without being able to find you on there. So in a sense, it's kind of like a de facto do not detain list in a weird way. It's not going to come up on like some cop's computer, but the second that they try to create a criminal case, they're going to be like, nope, not doing it, because it's an unknown entity. So we're going to be working on that this year too. So if you guys want to pass that word on and get your doc sets done, we can do them in sections. So, okay, Link, go ahead, continue.
All right. So once you guys have found your guys' account, we're just going to go ahead and copy the URL at the top of the page. This is going to be the direct link to that whole page. So I'm just going to, and then what you're going to want to do is go back to the main site. And once you do that, just scroll down to the bottom, and you should see down here in the bottom, do not sell my information. Once you click on that, you can now see how to delete your public information records. When you run searches on the site, use our removal tool. Once you click on that, you will need to submit your email. Sadly, you can probably use any kind of email. If you want to go and create a trash email is what I call them. I just use them for spam stuff. You can go ahead and do that. Then you'll have to check that box and say, I am a human. Begin the removal. I can't go any further because I've already done this myself, but the next page is going to ask you for that URL. You're just going to go ahead and paste that URL and then submit. It'll take 3 days for it to be removed. After those 3 days, make sure that you come back to the site and start over again and search your name, your phone, your address, or your email, because there are times that there are multiple accounts created. So you might have gotten rid of one, but there might be another that the two weren't linked together or merged together.
This just removes it from this database for this website?
Correct. This is one of the scariest of them all because it's a big collection where there's no kind of like paywall or anything. This is just a tool that anyone can use if they just get a few hints of information from you to track you.
What a fascinating, scary modern age we live in.
Should I be alarmed if it has addresses that I've never lived at listed for me?
No, they're probably just incorrect. It's probably either, well, at this point, it could be a guess by an AI. Who knows how many of these websites actually employ that sort of technology as well. Or it could be a guess by them to say, oh, maybe someone with the same name might have lived there and they're mistaking it for you.
There are addresses that my ex-husband lives at, but I've never lived there with him.
It also might be fraud where someone used your name under that address to fill out applications for things too.
Exactly.
It does happen.
That's a good possibility as well. It's not but possibility does not mean absolutism. So
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say an ex-husband sort of situation, it would probably keep someone who was married as a connection of location.
So you will copy the URL at the top of the result page. So whatever the page is that has all your information, that's the URL you want to copy.
Okay, so we got that. Now, after we knock this one out, what's the the next thing we should be wary of.
So once you have went ahead and submitted everything to opt out on this removal page, we'll move on to the next one. What's your question?
You said copy that URL. What did we do with it?
So once you get your URL, you'll click on the True People Search main page, the one where it asked you for the name, phone number, and all that. And then you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom and it will say, do not sell my information. You'll click on that and then you should see a removal tool.
A link. Just go ahead and hit the back button real quick so he can see it again, because he might not know. Some people get in here late. Yeah, so it says at the bottom, there you go. Do not sell my personal information. In such small print, you'd need a magnifying glass to see it.
And all that scrolling.
Right.
Yeah, I got that. And then I had copied that link in the URL, but I didn't know what to do with that link once you copied it.
Yep, you just keep it to your clipboard, and then once you get down and hit that do not sell my information, you'll go to this removal tool. It's right here. And you'll just
delete.
click on that.
Yep.
Once you click on that, it will ask for an email. You can use a junk email that you've created and just go ahead and check this. I agree that I am the person that is removing it. So if you guys are wanting to do this for family members, just make sure that you go and have them do it for themselves.
And on a side note regarding email, I would personally go and get a junk email account at Proton. It's free, but it's much more difficult for anybody else who would be possibly using this, or even for this website, to ever get information from Proton, because they're in another country and they're not exactly friendly to inquiries. So now that people have that, what's the next order of business?
All right. So now we're going to get into, and I saw that there was someone had posted in here, but we're going to use what's called the Brave browser. Anyone familiar with that?
Yep. It's the only thing I use.
Yep, use that and Proton.
You can get this for both your phone and your computer.
Did you say you're going to use the URL later, like once you go back in?
Yeah, once you go and type your email, your trash email, and then you hit accept the terms and whatnot, then it will ask you for the URL that you're referencing that you want to get removed. That's where you will paste that. And then you'll hit submit, and that'll be the rest of that. Do come back within 3 days to verify that it's been removed, and then also check your information again to make sure there wasn't any kind of duplicate profile that was made that you also need to delete. So the Brave browser, I highly recommend it because it's got a built-in ad blocker. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like ad blockers, you can definitely use it on there. I know this is going to get posted on that website, but on the one that you're watching this stream on, it does get rid of those ads as well. That's also a benefit. It doesn't cause any bog down. It also does have a built-in Tor browser. So if you do need to go and check any sites privately, you can do that as well. There are times that some websites will not load correctly, and that's just because they either put in a security measure on if you block their ads, they just won't load the website, or you can go ahead and see if the page isn't just loading correctly because this Brave Shield is on. Once you have this installed, you will have this little lion icon up here. So you'll want to press that. And then this will show you if your shield is up. Most pages will load with the shields up, but you can go ahead and turn this off if it's causing you any problems. This will block any trackers and ads, upgrades your connection to HTTPS, which just means that it's secure. It blocks any kind of fingerprinting and cross-site cookies. Cross-site cookies are like Facebook, Google, pretty much any social media that are tracking what you're looking at, where you're shopping at, what interests you have, and they're just using that information to sell it so that they can go ahead and send advertisements your way. One of our big things is going to be trying to get rid of ads that are going to be getting pushed towards you as well.
And aside from running Brave, there are two other programs that I would highly suggest people download and set up and install. One of them is called Ghostry. I don't know if you run that or not, Link, but Ghostry is a really good protection, and it runs all the time in real time. And also, it'll also do the same kind of things that that Brave does, but it does it even more consistently and like constantly every single time, no matter what you're on. And you can use it for free. I use it with Brave, and it works just fine. And then along with Ghostry, the other thing that you want to get is called Spybot. And Spybot is a very old program. Spybot has been around very early, since the internet started. It's also something you can use for free. It also updates itself on a regular basis. And what Spybot will do is it will remove the cookies that you don't want to be in there anyway. So every single time that a website, say, loads up, if it does have to load with cookies, that's fine. But the second that website gets shut down, or you click that X to close it, Spybot eliminates and erases any cookie that thing ever put onto your computer. It does like a back wipe of your browser settings. And you can make it be even more critical too, because there's various different settings on Spybot that are heavier than others, if you will. And the other thing that Spybot will do is it'll basically dust your registry for you. So it'll check to make sure if there's anything hiding around in the registry, it'll also clear that out as well. So it's not, I wouldn't call it, because technically it isn't a virus protection program, but it is probably one of the best pre-virus protection programs you can ever run, because there's very little, if anything, that can get past Spybot. And everything that Spybot focuses on getting rid of are all of the ways that a virus would attempt to take over your computer, like the usual suspects kind of thing. And so running Ghostry and Spybot together with Brave, which is what I do, and then using a search engine like Start Page, pretty much will be your 3 or 4 major lines of defense, along with, obviously, if you want to have and should have a good virus scanner. Now, I personally pay for Kaspersky, and I run it, and I have ran it on all the computers I've ever had. And I like Kaspersky because it's nice. It checks not only files, but when you plug in, say, a hard drive or a thumb drive into your computer, it does a real quick scan of the entire drive so that nothing gets past it, to make sure that there's nothing just ready to jump on. So I just wanted to share those with everybody too, so you guys can check those out at your leisure.
Perfect. Yes, and I will be going over a antivirus and a anti-malware software that you guys can download. It is free, that you guys can use. For most computers, you guys should already have a virus protector and a malware protector on your computer. Some programs are both, but I always think it's best to have 1, 2, or 3. The only thing about them is, if you have multiple on there, they're constantly looking on your computer. So if your computer is not the best, kind of slow, it's going to bog it down even more when it's doing its random scans. So you can set it to do scans at night when you're not using it, but the scheduling will be up to you guys. So another thing I want to go over is Google search. Google search is going to be probably one of the scariest things for you guys, because that too is going to be a way for people to find your information. Now, one of the things that you can do is, let's say you have a friend, you're friends with them on Facebook, and then that's all you're trying. It's just a coworker. You just want to have them on Facebook and keep that relationship like that. No other further into your personal life. Well, they can find you on any of these other social medias, either based off of your habits, or they can go on and search and find that information themselves. So if you're one of the people that goes and uploads a profile picture that you think is just the best profile picture ever, and you go and pop it onto Facebook, you go and pop it onto Instagram, onto Twitter or X, someone can go view that image, right click it, copy the image, and they can go and put it in here and find it. So I'm just going to go and pull up some random Facebook, find their image, and I'm going to reverse image search it.
Another really good reverse image search website is called TinEye. TinEyi, TinEye. And that will tell you all of the places on the entire web where that particular picture was blasted. So
we found Leslie Jacobs. I have no idea who this is. So I can just go here and just copy this image, and we'll go to Google, and Google has Google Images. You can go and search Google by an image. I can just paste it in, and it will find me any pictures relating or of similar function to that. Now, not everything's going to be accurate on every time, but it will pop up any kind of results that are similar to it. But let's say that you're using like a little cartoon for your image or something very similar or simple, it will be able to find every use of that. And just like Zen had stated, there are other websites that you can use, but you want to make sure that you're using this. Now, I went ahead and created some images for a lot of these new members. They were all told that to only use it on this platform. That way it's not something that can be reversed, and be able to track it through other websites or using these reverse image searches. So
good idea.
On from this, we're just going to go to Google. And now on Google, this is where, Google is probably one of the biggest search engines now. You still need to do this on Yahoo search, or I don't even know if they still use Ask Jeeves and all those other ones. But what you're going to want to do is you want to search your information. You want to search your username. You want to search your phone number, your address, anything of that sort. And you want to go through all those links and see if there's anything that is targeting or stating that you live there. This is your address. This is your email. This is your phone number. So I'm going to go and type in like a random number, and I'll see what pops up.
And if you already think that you're fairly dark, maybe not completely black, but if you think you're like more or less in the gray already, then for God's sakes, turn on the Tor browser first on Brave before you start putting in your own information, your own actual information to Google. Because what Google will do is they'll connect it with your IP address. So make sure that you have a masked IP address before you start dropping this shit into Google. Okay?
So just with that, I was able to find someone's phone number that was listed, and you can do a Control F on any website, type in if that's the website that stated it had your information in, and you can go and find the phone numbers on where it's listed. And looks like this is like an office number, but because this is on here, we don't want that result on there. So what we will do is we have this Google removal request page. I'll put that in the comments also.
And I'll also make sure that I make a connection with all these, and I'll create a short Word doc, and I will put that into the show notes, into the mega file for this class.
So as for this removal service, you guys can use this for anything. This is anything that contains your name, your physical address, phone numbers, email addresses, any images of you, anything highly personal, restricted, any records, bank account numbers, credit cards. It goes through everything on this page that you can get removed. So most of the time, if you guys are able to just search your name, email address, or anything, just go ahead and go through that, and then make sure that you remove any of those websites. This will be another time where you go and you'll have to copy the URL of the page that's hosting your images, and then you'll have to go ahead and put it on this removal request. So once you go to the removal request, you'll go and put what it has. It's going to be, most of the time, it's going to be personal information. Then you're going to select what personal information is being shown. Then you can go, you'll type in what information. There's going to be questions for each different one, or each different category. And then it's going to ask you for that information again, and you're just going to go through these, and this is where you'll provide those specific content URLs. So you can do a multiple of 2 of them if you want to go and open up a bunch of tabs and find each one that contains your phone number. You can do one whole list of all of your phone numbers, any of them that mention your email address, any of them that mention anything linked to you. Once you're done putting in all the information, you'll just hit confirm, and then submit. And then this one will also take, I believe it's 72 hours, so 3 days for that to be removed as well.
Now, just from a standpoint of, this is the second time that you said it usually takes 3 days for it to be removed. Do you know why, probably, that all of these
Fair
are
Credit
3 days?
Reporting Act?
No, it's more than that. It's not just, not to say that it's not in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It is. But there is a universal right of rescission of 3 days in law, in every jurisdiction of law. So if you ever enter into any agreement or state that you wish to do, X, whatever it may be, or even, sign away your firstborn child, doesn't matter. If you, within 3 days of doing whatever act, decide, yeah, you know what, that was a bad idea, I don't want to do that, you can go back and void ab initio whatever the hell it is that you did. So in a weird sense, by literally, I think it even goes all the way back, it might even be in the laws of Oleron, truth be told, which is a precursor to maritime admiralty law, that you have the right, after anything, you have a 3-day right of rescission, which, again, as you said, that might very well be in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I'm not sure, don't hold me to that, but it is a universal right in every jurisdiction, at least in American jurisprudence, of the 5 jurisdictions of law. So I just thought that was interesting that both websites, it won't get rid of it until 3 days, because they pretty much have to wait 3 days so that you don't come back and go, oh, wait, no, I didn't like that, or don't do that, right? So anyway, go ahead and continue. I thought that was just an interesting side note on law.
Perfect. So yeah, once you guys find any links or anything, go through this process and remove each one. If you're looking just to find your phone number on multiple, you can submit multiple batch websites on there all in one, and they'll go through each one and remove those. After you've gone and gotten rid of that, when you guys are using a social media or let's say you're using Pinterest, YouTube, any of those, try using or making your display name that everyone is going to see not your first name, not your last name. That information is also something that's going to pop up based off of if someone knows how to use Google search correctly. There are certain things that you can type into Google, such as quotations, which means it will only search for documents with that word that's in quotations, and it will only bring anything that contains all of those words together. So if you type in watermelon chicken, it's just going to show you a bunch of pictures of either watermelon or chicken. But if you put it in quotations, it is only going to show you pages that contain both of those words together. Now, after you've done that and made sure that none of your social media, and you can go and change your guys' names. Those should get updated. I kept having a Pinterest that kept showing up for me, and I don't even use Pinterest. I think I may have created it once. Another thing is, if you guys are signing up for websites, do not sign up with a social media. I know they got that little button and it looks so easy to use. Never sign up with a social media. That just links you straight to that. If it says log in with Facebook or log in with Google or log in with Roblox, don't do it. Just make an account using an email.
And on a side note with that, as far as logins are concerned, I refuse to use any application whatsoever that requires that I give them a phone number. Period, full stop. Won't do it. And the way I got around that with creating my junk account, which I use to actually run the YouTube account for VSOF, is that I actually ordered an account verifier. Basically, what it is, it looks like a little USB thumb drive, but it's not, because it plugs into a different hardware slot in the back side of your computer. A lot of phones have them. Most tablets have them. I think all laptops have them, and all towers have them. Meaning the slot, not the thing that you get. So you order this thing from Google, and once you order it, then you don't have to give them a phone number. You don't have to give them anything, and you can give them a garbage email backup account. And as long as you have that little verification chip, then they're not going to require you to give them a phone number. But just as a blanket thing, I absolutely refuse to use any application that requires that I give them a phone number. I just won't do it. So I just wanted to add that. So go ahead, continue.
Oh, I like what Round said. There's websites dedicated to fake phone numbers, emails, and SMF if needed at times.
There's also fake image generation as well. And then what you can do is you can create a fake image and then use that as your profile image if you want. And it's completely 100% AI created. Meaning, actually, if you go on this website, I think the website is called thispersondoesn'texist.com. Don't hold me to that, but you could try that. I think it's called thispersondoesn'texist.com. And then you can just click on it and it will create, I believe it'll instantaneously create a fake image, which then you can then just use. Yeah, there you go. Fake image generator. Right. You could use that. That's something else I would highly suggest if they require some sort of actual profile picture. Go to one of these sites, take that image, and then throw it up. And you want it to be as different from you as it can possibly be. Okay. So that's another thing that you should do as well. Never, ever, as Link just said, give anybody or upload any actual real profile picture.
Now, back to stating about the phone number and not giving your phone number out. Your phone number is the biggest connection you have to you. You guys carry a phone on your hip at all times. I don't care if it is a friend, maybe a family member, but I don't even trust family members, or a coworker. You don't know how secure they are with your phone number. So one of the ways that you guys can be tracked and have advertisements sent to you is because your coworker, your brother, your mother, your friend, they went and opened up Facebook and installed it on their phone, and they shared their contacts. And then when your phone number is attached to your account, they immediately make that connection. And now you, even though you guys don't have any friends in common or anything, now they know that you guys have a connection between you. They can track now that you two know each other, even if you have no mutual friends, and they will go ahead and suggest it. TikTok is the same way. If you're against them knowing any information and you block them from seeing everything on your phone, all it takes is one family member to go and share their contacts, and now they know that you guys are connected, you guys talk, and hopefully they're not dumb enough to have their GPS and Bluetooth on and all that, but you never know what they've allowed.
Also a good point, to disable all GPS on every single device that you have. I would personally suggest that everybody actually buy a dumb flip phone, or the only other phone that I know that's completely not hardware connected, meaning that it's a phone that's literally built for complete privacy. It's called Purism. So, and they're not inexpensive. I'll give it that. I mean, they're a little bit pricey as far as their phone is concerned. But if you buy a Purism phone, they're about the most secure phones you can ever possibly get. The other thing that you can do, which is basically an aspect of what I've been doing for years, is that I simply buy the cheapest flip phone that I can I never use a credit card. I always pay cash for it. And I change my number about twice a year. And I only ever then give that number out to about the 10 people that have it on this planet. That's it. And it's only for emergency purposes to call.
Exactly.
Other than that, that's it. That's the only time I use it. But if you want to get a really solid, protected phone, Purism is the best company that I know to go through. Unless, Cap, if you're on tonight, unless Cap has another idea as far as phones is concerned, I don't know. But
I was looking into some ideas of someone had created, like, I want to call it like a Lego phone where you can just pull off parts.
Oh, that'd be fascinating. Yeah, you can just switch out the hardware. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, someone has come up with that already. The
good.
only thing about that is, I don't know if everyone has noticed, but all phones have gone to you can't remove the battery. Do you guys think that there's a reason? Is it
That's
just
why I use a
because it's
flip phone.
waterproof?
The flip phones, you can still remove the battery.
Exactly.
That's why I do that.
The reason for that is a lot of phones, when you think that they're shutting off, the only way that it's truly shutting off is if the battery is actually dead.
That's incorrect. Just so you know, you can take the battery out and they can still hear you.
Only on some phones is that possible. Most of the dumb phones, like the flip phones, once you pull that battery, the thing's completely dead. Other phones, yeah, like other smartphones, it is possible because there's a different emergency backup. I think they have like a weird emergency battery. So in case you have to dial 911 and your say your battery's dead, right? Whatever. It has like this weird backup aspect to it. But if you pull a battery on a dumb phone, it's dead. They're not hearing shit.
I would suggest looking into Clear United. I've heard some great reviews for Clear United for the phone. A couple of my buddies at work for military use that, and I haven't bought it yet, but I've been looking into it. But it's a little bit pricey for what I'm interested in.
Okay. Yeah, well, if military guys are actually suggesting it, as long as they're not CIA, then yeah, it's probably a good idea.
No spooks. No spooks in my circle.
Okay,
oh, that looks nice. I like the little design that they got on.
Did they create their own? Oh, they did. They created their own OS. Okay, I see what they're doing. Oh, they created their own everything. Their own web, their own nav, their own cloud. Okay, yeah. Honestly, that even goes far and above what Purism does, truth be told.
Now, does anyone have an Android device? Go ahead and like my comment. I'm going to go over with you guys on how to block ads. So let's say that you guys got some freemium stuff on your phone. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now, this does not work for streaming because streaming, they embed the ad inside of the stream. But if you guys have any kind of freemium apps or anything that is loading that you got to wait 10 seconds for that ad to go away or whatnot, we'll be able to get rid of that. This is only for Android. I do think some Apple devices can do it, but I have not tested on all of them. So what you're going to want to do is open up your phone and go to your settings. If you're updated to the latest, you should be able to see network and internet. Once you go ahead and see that network and internet, you should see internet, calls and SMS, SIMs, airplane mode, hotspot, data saver, VPN, and then underneath that, there's private DNS. Go ahead and tap on that private DNS, and it's going to have a little screen that's going to pop up. It's going to say either off, automatic, or private DNS provider host name. You're going to pick the last one, the private DNS provider host name. All right. Once you're there, it's going to ask you to type in a address. I'm going to go post that in the chat. Now, before you guys do this, I just want you to know, if you do this correctly, it's going to block the stuff. But if you start having like a connection issue or something, it's either you typed it wrong or it's just not going to work for your phone. So just take note of where you are and you can just put it back to automatic.
And this is to stop what exactly on a phone?
This stops all ads from processing. So this goes through AdGuard's server.
Okay.
What it does is a DNS is a domain naming system. So anytime you're connecting to someone's server, Facebook and whatnot, people actually have to purchase those names, facebook.com, clearunited.com, google.com. And then those names are connected to an IP address that you then connect to access their services. So what this does is it goes in the middle and it says, oh, well, this app is trying to connect to a known ad, so we're just going to block that connection. And so it's kind of like a middleman where it filters out any ads on your phone. If it gives you guys any issues or problems, you can always just turn it off and go back to automatic. I do believe it will save that. Yeah, you're going to go into your network, or you're going to go into your settings first. Then you should see network and internet. In the network and internet settings, you should see private DNS. Hit the private DNS, and then you're going to want to hit private DNS provider host name that pops up in that box. And then that's where you will type that little address that I shared in the comments.
And so when that private DNS with that DNS ad guard comes into play, basically what, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what the phone is then doing as far as the connection to the internet is concerned is that it's basically running through that first, and then that is basically blocking the ads. Am I correct, or am I off there?
That is correct. It's just running through that naming protocol, and it says, oh, this is trying to direct to an ad site. We're just going to block it and say that there's no connection. So when you actually log onto the app, either it's going to say ad displays here, or it's just not going to show the ad at all.
Knucklehead asked, you said type the URL that you posted in chat into the DNS provider, ?
Yeah, so you should be able to see on the menu, it'll say private DNS provider host name. Some phones may be different if you guys don't have it updated, but under your networks, there should be something in there that says private DNS. You might have to click internet to see it, or it might just be on the network and internet menu.
Yeah, iPhones are a little weird. That's actually funny. Leslie said she couldn't even find ghostery.com, and she's running on an iPhone. It's probably because iPhone is blocking it. Okay. Apple, I don't want to get into a long tirade.
Ecosystem.
Yeah, I don't want to get into a long tirade about Apple, but I mean, my God, you want to talk about absolute total control. That's what you have with Apple. Unbelievable total control. I mean, on their side, not yours. And there's probably a very good reason why that an Apple device would never, ever let you connect to ghostery.com. Makes perfect sense. Because it would cut their nuts off. And that's the last thing that Apple wants, because this is all about data collection. It's all about total understanding, meaning that every single time they're trying to act as God, well, yeah, it makes perfect sense that Apple wouldn't allow you to connect to ghostery.com. But I can guarantee you what, you go on that website and download Ghostery onto any PC or any Android device, and you'll be perfectly fine. So, yeah, it's because you're running on an iPhone. So,
I got many things to say of Apple, but
yeah, that's a whole class in and of itself, I think.
All right, so I have gone through the True People search, don't giving your phone number away, no reverse image search, Googling yourself and removal, naming yourself, using the same usernames is a big no-no as well. So if you're signing up for anything, try to keep your usernames different, because that's just pick up anyone's username and Google search it, and now they can see all of your accounts that have that same username. All right. Next is VPN. So if you guys are using Brave browser does have a VPN inside of it. I can't say that I have used it, but if you guys can see over here on the right, it does have one. Looks like this one's a paid service one. Anytime that you guys are using a VPN, I'm just going to tell you this right now. Research what they are. You guys want, if you're going to use a VPN, which stands for a virtual private network, what this does is it funnels all of your information through that network so that your internet provider can't see what you're connecting to or anything that is on your computer. It's just going to establish a connection straight to that network, which is then from that network going to launch to any of those locations that you're trying to access. When you're researching your VPNs, you want one that is a no-log VPN. No-log VPN means that they do not create a database of every website that you use. They don't keep any kind of attachment or notice of websites that you visited or your internet usage. When you guys are just using your normal internet, anything that you guys search, and a lot of you probably think that you guys can just go on private browser on your phone or on your computer. If you guys are someone that does that, you are not hiding your information. All you are doing is preventing it from saving the cookies and the website history from your browser itself. Your guys' internet provider and your phone data provider can see all of the websites that you connect to. So if you're trying to be private about your browsing history and the websites you're connecting to or the websites that you're working with, you want to be using a VPN, and you want to make sure that it's a no-log VPN. Because if you are using the VPN that is logging, if for any reason someone needs to go and request or subpoena your information, they're gonna have to give it over, and they got all the websites that you visited. So just make sure it's
we'd have to know. I don't know if Proton VPN is or not, but Proton has a free VPN that goes along with just getting their email address. Kaspersky has one. You have to pay for it. I don't, because I just use Proton's free one. I don't know if there are any other. Oh, okay, you got it right there. All right, no log VPNs. So the Nord, Surfshark, and what's that other one? ExpressVPN looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know if this particular website would have taken down the information for Proton or not, but I'm pretty sure if you pay for the Proton one, then it's a no log. But again, don't hold me to that. I'm not sure. And that ultimately you want to do all of these things that Link and I have talked about tonight on top of using a VPN. Because if you're not paying attention to the information that's going out from you, and you think somehow or another just using a VPN is going to protect you, you'd be wrong. You have to understand how each and every one of these systems works. Take the time to learn what these various different terms mean. Now, I don't mean just VPN. Obviously, that's easy, and Link already said it. I mean things dealing with how the internet works. What is an IP address? How do programs connect to programs? This very basic sort of networking understanding and knowledge is what's going to allow you to be private. The same way that one should study law. You should understand and totally immerse yourself in every aspect of every jurisdiction of law. Then you know when it applies to you or not. You know what it is. You know where it came from. You know the history of it. Right? As you should know the history of all this stuff, because this is now our modern world. And every single bit of information that you ever let out there, aside from what Link has just taught us to be able to get rid of, it's out there forever. You know, you let it out there, it's there. So
I'll get onto that as well. There is another website some of you guys may know of as well. It is called the Internet Archive. And with that one website, all you have to do is type in a URL, and it will go ahead and show that information and that timestamp from that day. It can be from 12 years ago up to today. They can have a timestamp of it. It will show the timestamps that they have. So let's say you posted something on Facebook For some reason, Internet Archive crawled Facebook and went and created an imprint on there. That's there forever. So if you go back to your Facebook and start deleting all of your posts or all of your posts when you were a child and you didn't want anyone to see that, they are now able to go back, see how you were as a kid, and just judge you based off of that information.
Yeah, it's just archive.org rounds. Yeah. And
it's actually called, it's wayback.archive.org.
Well, I mean, okay, that's the Wayback Machine, but just if you go to archive.org, the Wayback Machine is on there. So yes, it's archive.org. And then if you want to click on the Wayback Machine, that's the capacity of which it takes the snapshot of the website. So the Wayback Machine is what allows you to go back in time and find stuff that's no longer available online, which I've done for many websites of many people in the, let's just say the freedom movement, where they got whacked, they got taken out, whatever. But I went to the Wayback Machine and I could still find it and I could still pull the information off of it that I needed. So it's an extremely important website. And if you look at it as it is here, this graph on the top will show you how many places, and the more times that the website was cataloged is the higher the graph is, okay? So the more times that people took a snapshot of the particular website, that's what that top graph is, and that also corresponds to the underlying calendar as to the symbols and how big the symbol, like the little circles around the dates, are concerned. So, you know, because there's some websites that maybe they only took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But there are some websites that you want to go as far back as you possibly can. And then there's some websites that you would rather have the most current information as you possibly can, right? Which is what link's showing here. So Gala.com goes back all the way back to 96. I don't see anything reported in 96, but you pull it up and we're going to... Did you pop it? Did you pop one?
Yeah, sometimes you're not going to get a good capture, but let me do 2005 when it was like hot.
Yep. You just pop whatever one is. I usually pop the one that's got a larger circle. I mean, it's not a requirement, though. You don't have to do that.
Each one of these is a snapshot taken on those days and what it looked like. So as we see here, right now, this website was owned by Gala Biotech. This is Gala.com. This is whoever owned this website at this time. This is what the website used to look like. Now, I know prior to this, this website has been owned by many different companies. So if we go back and let's say we go to early 2022.
And by the way, just a side note on capturing of websites. If anybody doesn't know this, you can download programs of which you can use on your own computer to take a snapshot of an entire website. And what it will do is it will download every single bit of information on that website that then you can look at offline, which is exactly the technology of what the Wayback Machine uses, but then it just archives it so that everybody can use it. But you don't need the Wayback Machine to be able to archive a website. You can go do this yourself. In fact, I specifically did that for 1215.org because I did not know when good, wonderful Bill Thornton may pass on. Luckily, he's still with us. But the moment that he does pass on, I seriously doubt that anybody is going to keep up his website. And his information is extremely important, as are many of the older mentors that I have learned from. So what did I do? I made sure that I went and downloaded a program that I was able to then snapshot a website and be able to look at it offline. This is exactly what link is showing you guys on archive.org. That's how they use this technology. And all they're doing is they're just saving it on a server and allowing you to go back and look at it again at a later date. But they're just pulling it up as if it was still online, but it's not. They've just taken that same snapshot, and now what you're looking at is the snapshot that's saved on the archive.org server and not something that is still up and running on the original server. So I just wanted everybody to know that this is not some magical bit of software writing. You can do this yourself.
So right here, you guys can see this is what the current website of Gala looks like. So this is a crypto company that has bought the Gala.com website. Before, they were actually using Gala.games as their website, but they just went ahead and bought the Gala.com. Previously, the owner of Gala.com was actually a Sydney-based company, and their website was for their opera houses. So, like a gala singing. But then it was just eventually purchased by this company. All right. And then now I want to go over, and this is going to be something that you guys aren't going to be able to really. You guys may be able to find one of these machines. I don't think that they sell them anymore, but it is called a Winston Privacy.
Are you talking about a computer?
Nope.
Oh.
So if you guys can see my screen, this is a Winston Privacy. It's this little machine right here. Now, what this does is it's what's called an internet scrambler. Now, there are other people around the world that use these internet scramblers. The one thing about being anonymous and is hard to track is everyone has a personal phone. Everyone has a personal email, a personal phone number, a personal social media. And the thing about being anonymous is you want to blend in with the people. That's how they can't track you, is when you're blending in with people. So what this internet scrambler does is it takes your internet history wherever you're connecting to, and it shoots your information through other Winston devices. It's kind of like a proxy site.
Is this a piece of hardware?
Yes, this is a piece of hardware.
Holy shit.
This gets placed between your router and your modem. Now, if you have a modem/router all in one, you will need to get a separate router.
Yeah, which is not difficult to do, but oh my God, is that brilliant. How have I never heard of this thing?
So what this does is anything that connects to your guys' network, your smart TVs, your laptops, your phones, friends' phones, any kind of device in your house that needs information or any kind of connection, it will go through your router, and then it will go through this internet scrambler, and it will shoot your connection in a million different ways all around the US. And what that does is it'll scramble advertisers from being able to see your guys' information.
Are you saying that this thing literally randomly separates your data packets in real time?
Yep, it's a plug and play hardware. Now the only thing is I haven't checked in on them. I went and bought the expensive package with them.
So I would love to play with this thing with you, like figure out, we'll do you and I can get on and talk about this after class, but I would be very interested into seeing how scrambled this thing does this. You know how you can run back channel searches for like an IP ping, right? So you can run your IP ping and you can see how many places it bounces off to, right? I would love to see what this thing does with that.
So this actually gives you a visual. You can actually see where your connection's currently being sent to.
And fragmented in real time?
You can see all of that. You can see all of the different people that are trying to connect to your signal. So any kind of advertisements.
Oh my God.
The only thing about this, and this is what I wanted to get at, is you cannot buy this anymore.
Oh, shit.
If you click the buy now, and let's say I just click whichever one, it's going to take me to a broken page because I don't think anyone is selling these. They're still active. I have mine right here. It installs a browser extension where you can control it.
Okay. And
you can go here. It'll take you to this dashboard. I cannot open mine yet because I don't have it currently on at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. But
I'm currently stuck on a router modem.
Is this
together?
Is this company? This company hasn't been shut down, has it? Or are they just out of stock?
That's the question I don't. These are the creators that made it, and their job or their whole story is that they used to work for those advertisement companies, and they were just worried at just how crazy it is to track you. And
Right.
I'm going to go into those tracking methods
Right.
after this.
Because this is
But
the
they
most
want-
insane thing that I've ever seen as far as a piece of hardware is concerned as to what it can do. So maybe it's a side note, and if you're listening to this online later, try and track down one of these things, whether it be even aftermarket, whatnot. Try and track down even the gentleman that created this and let them know that there's still a market for this if it's possible to get a hold of them. Now, unless they've been completely, which is I'm guessing what you're doing right now, trying to look at it. What I'm guessing might have happened is that they got scared out of the industry. That's what I'm guessing happened.
Their other pages that they had actually like showed how it looks and with your data going across.
My question with this from you, because you already have one, is there any type of connection that device needs to make to anything, meaning external servers or whatnot, that they created in order for this thing to work? Or is it a fully autonomous of its own piece of hardware that will do what it says it can do without any need to do anything to it after the fact? Meaning it doesn't have to connect to their service. It doesn't have to be updated. It does what it does, and that's it.
Right. I can see if I can get it hooked up and connect it to a laptop and then verify on that, because if this is all shut down, then I'm guessing their servers are shut down, and I can verify if it's still working.
Okay, so what you're saying is, so the answer to my question is yes, it does connect to their servers, and it does require an external connection to a server in order for the device itself to do what it says it could do.
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I can go and connect it myself, pop it up on my laptop, because I can just make a simple connection with another modem there, and then I can go ahead and see if it still runs. Because if their server is down, because it looks like their whole website and every link to it is down, I can go ahead and check to see if it works. But it should be connecting to other people's Winstons. That's all it should be connecting to.
Oh, so it's a requirement of a distributed system through other people's hardware that own the systems.
Exactly. So it
scrambles. Now I'm devices. Right. So now I'm seeing how it works. Okay. So that's not an impossible thing for us to figure out how to do, even if these guys are completely defunct and like whatever, they got threatened. The capacity for that still exists, is what I'm saying.
Right. Okay. And I do want to just say I want to verify that, because I want to say it works and then it doesn't.
Right. Okay. Because it's the same kind of aspect of, say, connecting to a torrent site. Yeah, you can put up torrents. Yeah, you can have a torrent downloader, but if you have 1,000 people trying to suck off the information and wanting to get, say, one single program, say like whatever the newest movie is out, whatever, but there's nobody seeding it, then obviously you would have no capacity whatsoever to be able to get the information. And that's exactly what this sounds like. It sounds exactly like a torrent website. If you're using it, you're bouncing off of everybody else's hardwares to scramble your data packets, because you're basically sharing the ideas. You're basically sharing the data packets between each of the hardwares that also these people are connected to scramble the damn thing. Am I right, or am I mean, right. That's what it sounds like.
And that's why I was saying that to blend in, you have to blend in with the population. So same thing with, if everyone had a gray is one thing,
but this kind of thing is something entirely different. You can say as gray as you want to on the internet as far as being able to limit your aspects and not put things up as we've both spoken of tonight, but this technology is a fuck you kind of situation. There's no way. If you're scrambling the data packets between, say, 1,000 people that are all bouncing this off and then going to the internet, it's impossible to track you. There's no way that happens.
Exactly. And that is why I'm saying, if you guys ended up, like, let's say I had, like, let's call it a community phone, pretty much like a payphone. We put a payphone out there, anyone can use that payphone. So, no one can track who used it at that time unless there was a camera set on it.
Right.
And that's basically how this is if you're going to be anonymous, you want your information, your actions blended in with society.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. But because we all want a personal phone or personal phone number and all that, that's what lets them tag this stuff to us.
Okay, were you going to play this, or like let him like describe what this is? Is that what you're doing?
I was going to see if it shows the actual dashboard.
Yeah, it did. About like a minute and 35. It showed the actual dashboard, I think. Okay, cool. All right. So let's try and find out then if this website is still, or if they're still selling. And if not, then I would say the first thing to do would be to get a hold.
This has the actual dashboard.
I would say we'd be able to get a hold of the inventors. Oh, what were you specifically looking for? Like what the
actual like computer where you can see all the connections as it's getting spliced across the internet.
Are they going to show that? I don't think they're going to show that. And even
it shows it right here in this picture, but it doesn't show it in the video. But this is basically.
Well, don't worry about trying to find it, because we're not. It's fine. What we need to figure out is if it does still work, and if we can acquire one or not. Those are the only two things that I give a flying fuck about.
I know you can get them on. I've already checked. They show them on eBay. You can easily find them on there.
Okay, good. And then we'll have to figure out if you'll have to figure out if you can set it up to your laptop and take it someplace where you can actually put it in between your surfboard and your router.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, check on that. Okay. All right, cool. All right. Well, that'll be a update on the VSOF Gilded server at a later date. Because I will. By the way, you mentioned it today, and I will put it up. I'm going to create a room. I'll probably put it under self-defense for internet security and all matters dealing with tech, meaning online privacy. I'll put it into self-defense. I'll make sure that I give you a role for it, and so that we can start talking about this and being able to share information. Because there's going to be a lot more people that'll be interested in this, that'll see this video, and will want to come and share their information with us at the VSOF as well. So I'll make sure that I put a place in the self-defense quadrant for this information.
Oh, what W posted with the camera hiders, I think that should be added as well. Those webcam covers, make sure you guys have those. They can now disable your guys' lights from showing when your camera's being in use.
Oh,
I mean, I have one on my smartphone on my screen. Like, I don't even let my smartphone see my picture after I found out that, they take a picture every like 2 seconds that you're on a phone.
iPhone, yeah, iPhones too. Apple is horrible with that. Apple will take it. It's like almost like every 2 seconds. Yeah, they're taking a picture of everything. It's not just your face, your entire surroundings. So yeah, with an Apple phone, you absolutely need to keep that son of a bitch covered 100% of the time.
Even your back camera, it might be facing away from you, but they are checking everything in your house, and they have an AI that can see it within seconds and know what the hell that object is that they see. And then they can say, oh, well, we see that they have a cat or a litter box or a pet bowl.
Or they're seeing if they're circumcised, for God's sakes. I mean, you really have to think about it. You're wandering around, you just got out of the shower, you pick up your phone to whatever, because somebody called you or somebody had a text. They just saw if you're circumcised or not, dude. They are looking at your junk. You need to turn that shit off.
Oh, speaking of profits from ads, another benefit to the Brave browser is you can sign yourself up and they will pay you for the ads that they're allowed to send to your computer. You don't have to click on them. You can exit out of them. But what they do is they will actually pay you for the ads that have been popped up. So as I go here, we can see that so far for the month of March, I'm going to make anywhere between 2.588 to 3.235 BAT which is called basic attention token, and that is actual money. And so you get paid out monthly.
On Brave,
but to be paid out, you do need to have an Uphold account. Uphold account will require some personal information, so just be wary of that as well.
So I'm sorry, say that again. Was that wasn't on Brave? What was that? That was something else, right?
No, it's on Brave.
Oh, it is on Brave?
Yep, it's just in your settings, and then you can go ahead and put notification ads. The more ads you see, the more money you get. So I have mine set max 10 per hour. It will only send you ads if that browser is active. So don't think you're just going to leave it on a computer and think you're going to get paid. You got to actually be using the Brave browser actively for it to actually send that. By default, auto contribute is on. Make sure you turn that off. There are websites that are set up like Wikipedia. And if you are on there, it will automatically support that site in the content creators.
Oh my God.
So make sure you turn that off.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's great. Thank you very much for showing me that, because I've been running Brave for years and I didn't know that was an option to do.
Oh man, you gotta have that activated on your phone. I get the annoying little ads on my phone, but at least I know I'm getting paid for them rather than, the website's getting paid to annoy me.
Yeah, no, sure. Exactly. That's good.
So this is basically going to be all of the online anonymous stuff. The next thing that we're going to be going over is what we talked about earlier. This is Avast. This is what I use. You can get Avast. It's free. You can use it for both your phone and you can use it on your laptops and computers, tablets. They have a full suite of objects in there. They have their own VPN in there. I do not know if it's a no log, so make sure you research that prior to using it. They go and have cleaning services. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Okay, while you're saying that, I just want to make a mention. W posted that the CIA looks like they took over a bunch of VPN creators, CyberGhost VPN, Cape purchases ZenMate VPN, Cape purchases private internet access, Cape purchases ExpressVPN. So all of these VPNs that W just dropped are all CIA controlled. So again, just always do your due diligence. Follow back the money. Understand that whatever company or whatever software you're using is not compromised and is not controlled by a bunch of spooks, okay? Basic 101 self-defense here, guys. What's the best VPN for no price with no logging? I use Proton just for little stuff, but if I were serious and I said, okay, I really need to be totally black, I would use my Kaspersky, just to answer your question, Green.
Now, don't listen to this if you're already actively using a VPN. This is just kind of like a little ad for them. I'm currently on a VPN, but this is basically just saying what it's detecting as your current IP address. Okay. So you're going to want to go ahead and just, if you want to use their services, they have that.
Actually, okay, I'm going to turn that off, because if that is your actual IP, then I'm going to have to blur this out.
No worries.
Yep.
So under protection, when you guys have this, you'll have the ability to do virus scans. It has core shields. Core shields are basically what's going to be always active in the background of your computer, so that it's making sure that nothing goes and tries to take over your device. It has quarantine, which is where if anything it detects, it will get sent here and it prevents it from doing anything on your computer. There's also a network inspector. The network inspector will check any of the devices on your network to see if those have been taken hostage. There are also some other features on here. Firewall, that's just going to be the connections into your computer. A ransomware shield. I cannot say that all these services are free. When you click on them, they will give you a notice if they are not, but the main ones that you want is to be able to have your core shields and your virus scan, and I know these three are all free. There's also a thing called Sandbox. What Sandbox does is if you're unsure about something that you're downloading or that you're opening onto your computer, you're going to want to go ahead and you can open it in here. So if you have this already installed, you can actually right-click the program and click Run in Sandbox mode, and it will activate it inside of here. So if it is a virus that you're unsure of, it'll catch it in here and it will prevent it. Now, then they have another section called Privacy. This one's going to give you, this is a paid service, and this is something that you guys should have. Either, I know Google has one as well, but Avast has it as well. If they find any of your guys' information, your phone number, your names, your emails, your passwords, what this will do is it will notify you if it's ever been on any website. There's a website called Get Pwned. You guys can search on that. I should probably put that link in there too. Might have to take that previous page out. All right, so here you can go and type in your email address, and this will tell you any breach that is online that they have found with any kind of data regarding yours. It will tell you what accounts have been affected. If you use that password and use that same password on any other website that is now compromised and you guys need to change it, and it will let you know what kind of information out of all of your information that's already like out there that is on dark web. There is a password protection. This is just basically going to be what is controlling your guys' passwords. It's kind of like the same thing that Brave or Chrome has, where it saves your password in the one area. There is a webcam shield on here. Basically, it just watches your guys' webcams to see if it's activated, and it will notify you that it's been activated. Sensitive data shield. This basically is going to see if you have like a W-2 or any kind of financial document on your guys' computer, and it'll be extra careful watching that so nothing tries to either hold it ransom or try to edit, copy it in any way. And then you have a data shredder. This data shredder, I don't know if you guys understand, but when you delete something off a computer, it does not delete it off of your computer. It is not gone forever. When you delete something on your computer, what it does, and this includes if you're emptying it from your recycle bin, when you remove it from your computer, all your computer does is it flags that area that currently has data that it can be used. So that data is still there, but until something writes it over, it is still there. So what this data shredder does is when you put a file in there that you want to go away for good, what it does is it's going to write random sequences of zeros and ones over that data shredder. Because if someone gets a hold of your hard drive, they can analyze all of the empty space or what you think is empty space, and they can bring these back.
The other program that you can do that with is called Eraser. If you don't need to go through Avast to get this, look up the program Eraser. It's a free program, open source. It'll do exactly the same thing. It'll, again, write over all of the information. It'll rip everything out of the registry, rewrite over it again and again and again, like he said, to make sure that it's absolutely 100% gone. So look up Eraser.
Yeah, so there's going to be multiple programs that do that, but just make sure that you have something that can do that. Anything to write over.
If I can chime in here.
Yeah, go ahead, Cap.
Part.
Go.
So DoD standards for hard drives, and this is coming from a classified sector space, is 30 writes.
Okay.
30 times over. Okay. Now, standard for most places to be secure is 5 writes. BleachBit is also another program that does this. It typically works on whole hard drives. And I know Linux can do it. You can actually wipe free space of a hard drive. You can also do it with fdisk as a formatting tool. But essentially, he's right. Basically, each hard drive contains a table of contents, and all deleting something, even emptying out your recycle bin, all it does is remove a file from the table of contents, but all of the data is still there. And I have used on a number of times certain programs, typically out of the Kali distribution, to recover files that people thought were deleted forever.
Okay, so let's make sure, as a pause, I'm going to let you continue for a second, Cap, but just as a pause, let's make sure that we get these URLs into the chat. So let's make sure that we get Eraser into the chat. What was the one that you said, Cap?
Kali Linux.
Okay, that's an OS, right? That's an operating system, right? As a whole.
And then
what was the program? But you stated a program is
forget the name of the program, but it's in there. I've got Kali on a thumb drive, and so anytime I need it.
Okay, so the erasure program that you were talking about only works off of Kali Linux, is what you're saying.
No, you can use it for you can actually install a number of different programs that'll do the same thing out of any Linux distro. If you have a Linux distro and you have it installed, you can actually basically, this is part of what I love about Linux. You can install the Linux to a thumb drive. And I've done this so many times for different people, and literally walk up to whatever computer they have, boot the Linux off of the thumb drive, do whatever you need to do to their drive. I've changed the main password for their main account. Like, hey, it's got Windows on it and I can't. Okay, well, NTFS password delete. I think the tool that does it is actually called something like that. But you can also mount their Windows hard drives. You can secure delete files. You can
delete. That's true. Yeah, you could mount their entire drive as a vision and then just do whatever you wanted to it. And then good point.
Yeah. The other thing is, when you're talking about actual like security and you don't need to be found, Tails, the Amnesiac Incognito live system.
Is Tails a Linux OS? Is that what it is? Or
it is a Linux OS. It also has, when it's booting up, there's an option where you can make it look like an old, out-of-date Windows system.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So you can actually make it look like Windows 2000 or like Windows XP. And the most important thing to know about Tails is that it routes all of your internet traffic through the Tor network system. So anything you do is, and specifically, I noted from when the Fed Boys actually did a number of like kiddie porn busts and stuff like that. One of the things that they specifically used was a weakness in the Tor distributions. So if you're running Tor off of an installation, they were able to compromise that. However, Tails was not actually compromised, and so now maybe that was
explain that to everybody that doesn't know what that means. As far as the standpoint of they were running Tor off of.
So you can install Tor to your Windows system. You can install Tor to your Linux system, but Tails specifically runs everything through Tor, and so it is essentially untraceable.
All the more reason to get off of a Windows system and to upgrade to a full Linux system and learn how to do that. Which, truth be told, Cap, I think what I'll do under self-defense is add, as we talked about earlier, because I know you usually come in a little bit later in the night, we talked about adding a room under self-defense for tech. And then you could help everybody out by saying, hey, this is where you go download this information. This is how you put it onto a thumb drive. This is how you get to learn it. This is how you get to use it. And whatever else you can possibly give. And then Link, we can also put this information along with this class into that as well. And then so the people can stay sovereign. Is there anything else that anybody would like to add? I think I've gone pretty much through chat. Or is there anything else, Link, that you want to make sure that you go over before the night's over? So,
let me go ahead and I'm going to switch my view again.
Okay, go ahead.
So here's a website to be able to see different types of shredders that go. This one even has US DoD on it, German standard, Peter Gutman standard.
It should be known that if you try to actually do that, it will take a long fucking time.
Yes, because it is constantly just writing over it and rewriting over it and rewriting over it. So I did want to post. This is Malwarebytes. This is another program that I use. This is for anti-malware. There is a difference between malware and an antivirus.
That was precisely why I brought up Ghostery and also Spybot. So Malwarebytes and Spybot would be equivalent to the same thing, I'm pretty sure.
Just make sure everyone has one of each of those programs on your computers. I mean, heck, you can even get them for your phone. Just most of the time, I think everyone downloads from the App Store, but even the App Stores have been compromised.
Oh, they're heavily compromised.
They act like this is like the safe marketplace to get them, but you know, a lot of them don't even like vet who's on there, just as long as they're getting paid their 30%.
The other thing is they also specifically block you from actually downloading proper privacy tools. If they find out that you are trying to, if a program on an app store is trying to block Google or Samsung or Apple from stealing your info and shit, they will probably get blocked unless they pay a lot of money.
Correct. And then lastly, about what I wanted to do is let you guys know on different ways that you're being tracked. Obviously, we know about social media listeners via tracker cookies. They will go ahead and put a cookie, and then they'll read what cookies you have on your browser. So if you log into Facebook and you've already visited where you shop online, they're going to know what you've looked at, and they're going to put ads and put that to your file that they have on you. They also have, if you go to a website and it says, like this on Facebook or like this on, I think it used to be Google Plus, but any of those, or share this on Twitter, and it's just like a random button on top of there, that is also a tracker. Everyone thinks that they want like their connection to social media on their website so everyone can see it and easily find their social media. But in return for them putting that on their website, they are tracking your information. So they're like, oh, he's logged into Facebook and there's a like button on this website to share it to their Facebook. So now we know there's a connection between the two. There is also, when you guys get emails, this is something scary that you guys need to know about. When you get an email and you open it, make sure your settings have load images set to no. Do not allow images to open up in your emails. The reason for this is they have what's called a tracker pixel or a pixel tag. So what this does, and they've gotten so smart with it, is they can send an email out to you. Let's say it's like a spam account, and they send you like this trash email in hopes that you're going to click on something and, you know, get money taken or your identity revealed or whatever that they're trying to do. When you guys go and put that in, or when you load that image that is only a pixel big, it tells them that you viewed that email. So they now, one, know that your email is active, and two, they know that you viewed it. And so how they do this is they put a image, it's literally just a pixel by pixel big in that email. And when you open up that email, it loads that image from their server. They have that image tagged to that email and the address that they sent it to. And so when that gets loaded from their server, each time that you open it, they can see how many times you've opened it and see that your guys' email is currently active, and they can go and say, oh, let's go send them more spam mail. A lot of times they will have an unsubscribe button at the bottom, which is actually supposed to be required. But a lot of those are phony links as well, because they're just also trying to see if you click that unsubscribe,
And I want to make another note about that. As far as the capacity to track open emails, there was a active program of the government. I don't know who created it. I don't know if CIA created it. I don't know if FBI created it, whatever. But it was called Carnivore. And Cap might know something about this as well. And what Carnivore did is that any single time that you would open up an email like that, and then they would lock it in and know that what they would also do, I think they had the capacity basically take a snapshot of your hardware. So this motherboard, this processor, this such and such aspect of RAM. Not only how much RAM you had, but what the RAM was.
Specifically, which brands.
Yeah, specifically which brands. Yeah, exactly. And so what Carnivore did, and if you want to elaborate on this, Cap, please do so, but I just want to tell my story about this, is that I know 100% that I was carnivored at one time. Without question, 100%. Because I had opened an email on a device which I no longer have. And it was a rather odd email, but I myself was in also a very odd place when I opened it, meaning it wasn't like any of the usual suspects, meaning I wasn't at my house, I wasn't at a friend's house. I was literally kind of out in the middle of nowhere in a weird place that just happened to have internet connection. I opened the email. I'm like, what the fuck? This is weird. This is an odd thing. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Deleted the email. All right, that's all it took for Carnivore to figure out where the fuck, what the hardware of the thing that I opened it on was, right? Then, about a month later, I was in a particular location that was, let's say, much more public, if you will. And I got on the device, and all of a sudden I saw a lot of cops starting to come towards my direction for no reason. And I thought, I put down the device, threw it like in a place underneath something where no one would see that it was still running, and I got the fuck out of there. And what I did was I watched from about 200 yards out with my spotting scope. And strangely enough, what did the cops walk out with? That little device. And they were looking at it, and they were pointing at it, and they were talking to other cops about it. Right? Don't give a fuck what anybody says. I got carnivored. Right?
Yeah.
That's how that happens.
Yeah, most of the security stuff that you can find easily and that you can do easily is enough to protect you from script kiddies or basic entry level hackers. But if you're actually talking about state actors, then you're pretty much fucked because I can't remember the name of it, but Israel and the United States, this was a virus that somebody found that it pretty much didn't matter what you were running. If it could infect you, it would, and it would. But basically, the whole point of this virus is Israel was trying to shut down the nuclear reactors in Iran. And they basically created a virus that infected every possible device it possibly could. And the whole goal was to basically get an infected disk or thumb drive into the air-gapped Iranian nuclear power program. And from there, it basically spread to all of the computers on those networks. And it was specifically looking for the industrial PLCs that were made here in the States, actually, but were used for basically spinning up like your uranium.
Explain to people what a PLC is, because a lot of people won't know.
A programmable logic controller. Specifically, it is like it's not quite a computer on a chip, but it's basically a computer on a chip, and it's used for essentially industrial sorts of devices where you're doing like you would have a PLC for your automatic, anything that spins automatically, raises automatically. You have PLCs in your washing machine, in your drying machine, in your dishwasher. And basically what they did is this virus told the PLCs that controlled the sort of spinny shit to refine nuclear material processing to basically spin up to full speed, like to a speed where it's going to destroy itself,
Right.
while sending data to the monitoring system that everything is working as normal. Once it activated, it basically blocked out all input.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
the
yeah.
guys were able to sort of recognize, hey, this is not normal and we can't get out of here. And these things are actually kind of dangerous. So they actually evacuated, but it did destroy the Iranian nuclear program and set them back many, many years because it destroyed all of their material as well as all of their equipment used to sort of refine the stuff. And
Yeah.
this was something that was concocted by the deep state here in the United States in partnership with the
Mossad.
the Mossad
Yep.
and the deep state of Israel.
Thanks, Kat, for that. I also heard somebody in your line of knowledge on a podcast literally state that if you want to be anonymous, you have to dump every single digital device that you have ever owned, ever put anything into, and throw it into a swamp, basically. And then start over with completely anonymous information and have nothing with anything to do with any old friends that you've ever talked to ever again. That's basically what he said. I would absolutely have to agree with him.
Well, I think of it as the same guy. Have you guys ever seen the lockpick guy on YouTube?
Lockpicking lawyer, yeah.
Yeah, his theory is they're all gonna break. It's more to deter. Like there will never be a master lock because all locks are meant to be open regardless. It's
Yeah,
about
I mean,
deterrence.
yeah, exactly. I would say, and ultimately, that the best way to, I would say, describe that level of a maxim is that the only way you make sure you don't lose is to never play the game. Meaning, do not have anything. I mean, okay, we're all sitting here talking about this and we're all being online. Get it. And at some point, may all of what we speak about and all of the knowledge that we have gathered here at the VSOF become a target. And I would say, without question, yeah, probably. It'd be fucking stupid not to do it. But am I about as black or as gray as I can possibly be? Yeah. Is my name anywhere? No. Do I have any bank accounts? No. Do I have any mailing addresses? No. Everything I have comes through either proxies or trusts, of which, again, is not in my name. So I'm much safer than most, but I don't ever think for 2 seconds that I'm completely invisible, or if there might be an agent here or there that I didn't weed out on the VSOF. Of course, that's always a possibility. But in the end, I'm always willing to die for my sovereignty and for my fellow man's sovereignty, even for my fellow man's property. Because what did the Declaration of Independence say? What are we to pledge to each other? What's the first thing? Our lives.
Our lives.
Our property and our sacred honor.
Our sacred honor.
That's an oath that's not taken lightly from me. And I know who our true enemy is, so I have no hesitation to be in that foxhole with anybody that's here that's, as genuine as I am regarding that and understand what that means. So, Link, was there anything else that you wanted to bring up or state?
So, one of the last three things that I wanted to get on about is your smart TVs or just regular TVs. They both work in conjunction with catching data about you. What advertisers will do when you guys are streaming cable or whether you guys are streaming Spotify on your TV, any kind of video game. I can't say all video games do it, but most TV do it. When you guys are watching something and there's a commercial on or something at that moment, there is a silent to your ears noise that plays that has data in it. Your phone's microphone will pick up on that. It will be able to hear that sonic tone. So it will know that you're watching the Grammys. It will know that you're watching the Kardashians. It will know if you're watching The Price is Right, depending on which hour that show is either playing. The only way that I learned about this was I remember watching a show or something, and I used the app Shazam. And Shazam, I played it while I think we were watching like one of those big reward ceremonies, and they were playing music, and Shazam was instantly able to tell me that it was music playing at the Grammys or whatever it was, versus just giving me the actual song. It just said, here's the song and here's the Grammys. And like it can detect whatever that noise is in the back, and it's able to tell that is your guys, that's what you guys are watching at that current moment. And then by that, your TV now has given your information to your phone, and your phone has now sent that information off to the advertiser collectors, mostly Google. Google's the biggest one. And this works for smart TVs and regular TVs, because it's really just your phone listening for the noise that's coming from the advertisements being played on your TV. Now, another thing is, I don't know if you guys have seen in the TV market, remember when TVs were so expensive, but now you guys can go get a smart TV for like $99? Well, the reason for that is you go and accept your terms of service or terms of use, and what they're actually doing is when you're using any of the smart apps on their TV, you're giving them permission to see your viewing habits, so they can see what advertisements you've been exposed to, which ones that you changed the channel on, what shows that you were watching, and then they can create a profile off you based off of what you have been watching. So it doesn't matter if you have a dumb TV or a smart TV, both of them can give your information away. When you guys are shopping at a grocery store, make sure hell, I would just say leave your damn phone in your car. And the reason I say that is when you're sitting inside a grocery store, you'll see that some of them will have the little price changers that are like digital. Well, those little digital price changers that they have on there that will display the price, it can go ahead and see that you've been sitting or standing in the baby aisle of the grocery store for however many minutes, however many seconds. And based on that, they can say, oh, well, it looks like they have a baby. Or, oh, they're in the pet aisle. Oh, they're in the front of the store where all the healthy food is. They must be a food fanatic. Anything like that, those little RFID tags get tagged to the product that they're being priced at. And that's another way that advertisers can get your information just based off of that. Obviously, we all know about Bluetooth. Bluetooth is probably one of the most annoying things ever, because a lot of programs on your phone, applications, will ask that your Bluetooth stay on. But when your Bluetooth is on, it is constantly pinging anything in its vicinity. The same thing with Wi-Fi. Turn your Wi-Fi off if you're not using it, if you're out in public. It will go and it will scan and say, oh, there's a McDonald's Wi-Fi here. And we know where this McDonald's Wi-Fi is because someone else that connected to it had their GPS turned on. So we collected that information. So we know if they're connected to the same router, we know that this is at this location. And now we know which Walmart you've been at.
And to make a point with that, that's exactly how they created Carnivore, was to collect that specific information.
Well, Google's actually been one of the main contributors to that. That's actually one of the things that the Google little Jeep map trucks will do, is they will actually record the location of every named and unnamed via the SSID. So even if you turn your network name off in your Wi-Fi settings, Google's still picking it up, because the Wi-Fi router is still broadcasting its network ID. It's just not broadcasting its name. It's this real weird thing that they do, but yeah, it's so Google has it. They've sold it to the government. The government knows where every Wi-Fi location is. So if you are connected to any sort of Wi-Fi, it's safe to assume that they have your location down to something reasonable, like 50 to 500 feet.
That's also the same reason why everybody should, if if you can do this, is always make sure that you are hardwired into whatever connection you're usually using, along with all of the other protections that we've already spoken about this evening. For that exact reason, I wouldn't use Wi-Fi at all. In fact, I don't. I never, ever use it.
Yeah, I do my best not to, but sometimes the things are there. I also posted a link to an article. This is fairly recent, but I can assure you that it's been going on for a lot longer than that. So, like Link was saying, your cell phone will broadcast Wi-Fi just to sort of see what's near you. That's how your phone will also give you pop-ups saying things like, "Hey, you're not connected to Wi-Fi. There are Wi-Fi networks that do not require a password that you can connect to." That's part of how it knows that. But one of the things that it's essentially radar. And so I posted a link to an article. There's researchers at Carnegie Mellon have been working on this for a few years now. They can basically take all of those Wi-Fi radar pings to not only to literally map the interior of your rooms, as well as to detect where people are standing in those rooms.
By the way, there was a movie that gave out what they were doing, meaning, when you watch a movie and you see something going on and you're like, oh, that's crazy. Well, guess what? It wasn't crazy. There was a Batman movie. I don't remember exactly which one it was. It was one of the more recent ones where Batman went to, I think it might have been Japan or I think it was whatever, some other country. And what his boy had created in the fictional movie was basically a pinging radar capacity to track and to record the radar of the area of which that particular cell phone was wandering around in. That is, in a sense, what exactly you just posted with that link. It's the same idea. So it was, telling everybody, hey, yeah, we can already do this, right? So it's real.
I agree, Knucklehead. There's only one Batman, and that is Adam West.
Right.
And the other thing that I wanted to go over with is if you guys are using the Tor browser, there's a such thing as hardware logging and screen logging. So if you guys are using the Tor browser or any browser for that instance, these browsers and your apps on your phone are going to be able to, even if you're using something that is, trying to hide your information, sites are made to go maximum size inside of your screen. And if you guys are in maximum view on your browser, it now knows what size your guys' monitor is, and it will collect that data.
Absolutely. So the other thing, Tor traffic is notorious. So Tor was specifically developed in conjunction between the United States Navy, who I used to work for, and the NSA. And it was specifically developed to try to hide spies super deep cover behind enemy lines. The problem with Tor is that its traffic is very easily identifiable. What it essentially does is it basically takes your connection and it, just like in the movies, how they're like, oh, we're bouncing off of 3 different satellites. It basically does that, except you have to volunteer your system to do that stuff, which I sometimes do just because I like being free when I've got some extra bandwidth I'm not doing anything with. I'll do some of that. But so what happened, they were like, well, this works, but it's super easily identifiable, so there's no way we can really hide somebody using it. So what they decided to do is basically put it out on the internet for free so that everyone who was concerned about privacy and that sort of a stuff could download it and use it to essentially make their spies traffic less conspicuous, right? Because now instead of being very obviously a spy, they are in fact just somebody that's super paranoid and concerned about privacy, right? So the other thing with Tor is that you Link's probably already talked about, like if you have a window that's got a shit ton of tabs in it, some of those tabs may link your location or your stuff. And so it's one of those things that if you're really concerned about security, you open a new window for every different application. Use different browsers, use Firefox, use Chrome. God forbid, might even need to use Edge. Please don't ever use Edge. But use Brave. And then Tor will run inside of your Firefox windows. But one of the things, it will do its absolute utmost to basically map your hardware, which is very easily identifiable, especially if you're buying a built computer, or if you bought a computer brand new and they know, hey, this is an HP 2390 or whatever.
Right. To make a point about that, all the more reason to build your own computer. If you guys don't know how to do that, that's something else that I would also like to put into the VSOF as far as those that know how to build computers. All of us should be getting computers. If we need a new computer, we should all be getting computers from people within the VSOF that know how to build them. We should be able to.
It really isn't that hard.
It's not.
In one place.
Yeah, it's not, as long as you know what you're doing. And I've done it twice. I've built 2 different computers with 2 different people helping me do it. But I will make sure that there is a specific room within the VSOS server so that we can do that and have that capacity, so that people that want to build a new computer are not going to have to go to some sort of pre-manufactured thing that has all of these ridiculous things on it and all of these stupid tracking programs, that it comes just as it is. You can choose the OS, the operating system. You can choose whether it wants to be Linux. You can choose whatever, or even a cracked version of Windows, whatever, and make sure that it's as completely blank as it can possibly be, because that's really the only way that you ever want to build and own a computer that you're going to use all the time. So I'll make sure that it gets put into the VSOF server as a place where people can, I'll call it like a tech room or computer building room or something of that ilk.
And
the other thing I was going to add is Link is absolutely right. When you try to use Tor, and it'll open up a browser that's at a sort of nondescript size, and you should basically just leave that browser window sort of as is, or basically just sort of grab the corner and just move it up and down just a little bit, just to sort of throw it as a non-standard size. Because, like, for example, if I'm using a 2K sized monitor that has a very definitive number of pixels, they're not very common. Most people generally are using like a full HD, like a 1080, or using like a 4K monitor if they're like a hardcore gamer. And that stuff will be recorded. And so, and this has been used in criminal cases before with, it's generally either hackers or kitty pornographers, but they can identify who you are and what you're doing through your sort of a stuff. Now, these are the ones that we know of because these are the ones that we actually have documents that do that. But I can promise you that the government is actually looking at this kind of a stuff for everyone out there. All right, one of my favorite stories is my very last mission I was doing the intel package for. So my division and I were going to someplace off the coast of Kansas, and we were hunting for a target of high interest. And I got onto classified Google, got all the stuff I had. I was writing it up. My LPO was supervising me. And I was just like, hey, the main guy that we're going after, all we have is a satellite picture. I've got nothing. You really want me to just put a satellite picture on a blank page and just be like, hey, here's who we're going after? And he's like, hey, if that's all you got, that's all you got. And I said, aye. And I put it on there. A couple of days later, we get in our spooks from Washington, D.C., who come on board and brief our division. Okay, this is who we're going after, and this is what we're looking for. And they had everything on the target. And everything on the target. And I was just like, what the hell? Where did this come from? Did y'all process a new intel package since, 3 days ago? And they were like, no, we use the same classified sites that y'all do. And I said, okay, but where did this come from? How did this happen? And it took him about 5 minutes of beating around the bush, but he finally came out and said, we found a YouTube video. After telling me, oh, well, we've got the most advanced intelligence apparatus on the face of the planet. Oh, we spend millions and billions of dollars a year on intelligence. They found a YouTube video. And from that YouTube video, they were able to basically snag the appropriate pieces of data that gave them all of the information that we needed to find, hunt, track the target, and if possible or necessary, make them not a target anymore and do something else. But that's about all I think I can say about that. But it's my main point is they're doing this. CIA Project Lifeline was extinguished the day Facebook went public.
Really?
CIA Project Lifeline was a project by the CIA to basically create a written record of everyone, where they grew up, who their parents were, who their siblings are, who their friends and family were.
And that was basically no longer necessary after Facebook came online, is what you're saying.
After Facebook went public.
Oh,
when Facebook was selling shares to certain large companies.
Like BlackRock.
Remind me again what the CIA has called itself in the past? The company? Yeah. So, but yeah, they basically wanted to keep track of everyone, who they went to high school with, where they went to college, what jobs they had. And then Facebook happened. Now, Facebook had some angel investors along the way. I'm fairly certain we had some deep state operatives working on it there, but it is Facebook, Meta, whatever the fuck they are now, Google. They're all backdoored. I mean, we saw this in the Trump trials, right? How many of your deep state propagandists were interacting with Twitter? Yeah.
Yeah, and one other little aspect on the CIA that a lot of people may not know. The Broadcasting Board of Governors, just look that up. If no one listening to this has any idea what that is, what the Broadcasting Board of Governors is, that is the CIA, okay? 100% run, operated, completely controlled. And then look into what they do. It might shock you.
Yeah, these are people that should have been put down violently, brutally, in preferably slow and painful ways.
Yeah, before they took out Kennedy. Yeah, exactly. That's what he said. He said, I'm going to scatter the CIA to the wind. Because he knew. Yep. He fully understood what he understood it all.
And they also happen to be very much, if you actually look at who the public officials in a lot of the CIA are, they are rather closely linked. And a lot of them will have names like Silverstein or Goldberg or...
Yep.
You won't quite see any Bowers, but I'm pretty sure if you went back through their genealogy, you might find some third cousins of Bowers and or Rothschilds and people like that up there in the CIA.
Yeah, you're gonna find everybody that links into the usual suspects that were all about the little meeting in Jekyll Island. You're going to also find all of the names in history going back in the families from the creation of MI6, which is also immediate, because that's where the CIA was developed from or came from, were those same families. And if you want a real deep, full understanding of the totality of the connections that Cap and I are talking about right now, make sure you read the books, all of the books that Carol Quigley ever wrote, which would include, but be not limited to, the Anglo-American Establishment, Tragedy and Hope, A History of the World in Our Time, and many others. All of you who are members of the VSOF have access to the VSOF online library, of which all you have to do is just scroll down to the bottom in the mega file, and go to other Zen's collections of other people's works and just click on Carol Quigley's file and open up that file, and all of his books will be in there for you to read. It's going to be a long time, meaning it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to do this in a day. But if you want to know the true understanding of the totality of the history of the creation of the CIA and all of the rest of the interlockings of what the Anglo-American establishment, let's just put it that way for now, is, Carol Quigley is the single most important author to read as far as the connections of all of that. And then when you connect it back even farther and deeper, yes, everything connects to the Khazarian mob, without question. If you don't know who the Khazarian mob is, the single most important article that anybody should ever read is the article from Veterans Today, which is and I'll link that in chat as well.
VSOF timeline class is fabulous.
Yeah, I covered quite a bit of it in the timeline class, not specifically to the totality of what the Veterans Today class talks about regarding who the Khazarian mob is. But yes, in the VSOF timeline class, which I only have posted on Odyssey, I can't really post it any other place, is the totality of every connection that I've made over the past 2 decades as to who your true enemy is, what they've done, and I mean what they've done through everything, not just intelligence, but through the manipulation and the destruction of law, through the control of all governments, and every connection between all of that you can possibly fathom, whether it be through the Vatican, through every secret society, all of it. Everything that I've ever collected is in that timeline. Now, I put everything that I possibly knew into that timeline to give people the best understanding as to where all this comes from, at least to.
I think it's critical to understand the motivations and methodologies, because they have one goal, which is the subjugation of basically everyone on the planet underneath, probably the state of Israel or whatever it is that they can.
Lucifer.
Yeah. This is their one goal, but they will use pretty much any tool at their service. 600 years ago, they were using the Catholic Church because that was what was ruling most of the Western world. These days, they're not using religion. They're actively trying to subjugate religion and eliminate it. They're trying to use communism, and everybody should worship the state. But the tools change, the motives do not. And the methodologies are largely the same. They just come at things from slightly different angles.
Indeed. And unless you know the history of it, you will not be able to see it for the simplicity of what Cap just said that it is. So, all right, with that, we've now gone 2 hours. And so I think we should conclude for this evening. We can keep talking after class. That's fine. But with that, everybody, I thank Link for giving all of his information that he did tonight and running us through how to be anonymous.
Thank you for having me. And that is about all my points. There may be a few more that I may want to add onto the document, but that is all.
Okay, I'll make sure that I give that document to you so we get all the links in here, so we make sure that we add it to the show notes. Cap, thank you very much for your input, as always, knowing what you know and where you've been and what you've seen. And this has been the Vocational Science Freedom Wednesday night open round table. And this has been our discussion on self-defense of one's privacy and all of the aspects of online security. So until next time, stay safe, stay anonymous, and stay sovereign.